It's really cold outside, so yeah, about 5 degrees Celsius. If you do Fahrenheit, you can make your own calculations. But what I went ahead and did, I picked all the peppers which were in the garden, and I have a combination of Scotch bonnet and habanero there. The green habaneros and Scotch bonnet, I'll share a recipe coming up pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But what I want to focus on today is the pimento peppers, and you're going to see some of them. They're kind of going bad there, but I still picked it because I'm going to rip them open and get the seeds for next year. But I'll quickly show you all how to prepare these, to freeze them so you have them all winter. So maybe you don't garden, but a friend gardens and they give you some and you want to know how to prepare them so you have them all winter. Or maybe you find them wholesale somewhere and yeah, good price. And just look at the size of these. Beautiful pimento peppers, man. Just look at that now. And the green ones uniquely, or whether you know it or not, they have a different flavor profile than the ripe pimento peppers. Once you get inside, what you want to do is sort them. So like the ones with the blemishes like that, I have a couple options. And these are all, now if you wanted to separate them into green versus ripe, which would be the orange and the red, you can do that, but I keep them together because once I freeze them, I can decide whether or not I want to use a green one or a ripe one. And as far as flavor, yes, there is a difference in flavor, and it's very subtle, but I can, after so many years of using these peppers, I can identify a bit of a flavor difference between a green one and a ripe one. Some people cannot, and they may argue me on that, but trust me, I've been doing this for a number of years now. With these ones, I have a couple options. I can trim that out, give it a wash, and freeze it. But what I can also do is save these for seeds, so I can dry these down, cut them open, take the seeds out, or chop them up and put them in the fridge in a Ziploc bag, and when I'm ready to cook, I can use them as well too. But I'm going to keep these separate, so the ones I have to actually put some work into, I'm going to keep them separate. But they still all got to, and here's another example. This one would have been touching the ground, and thus the sort of rot started happening. They're still good. I'm not trying to waste this. These are very expensive. I kid you not. This many I saw, 1, 2, 3, 4. Not as big as these, more tiny ones like this. Yeah? At the Asian market, one of the only stores, mind you, some of the Caribbean grocery stores here in Toronto have them as well. The No Frills in Hamilton, where I live, have them as well from time to time. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're looking at about $6 to $7 Canadian. I'm not trying to waste anything. So step one, go through and sort them out. Yeah. So these are all beautiful. I'm just keeping them to the side there. And any with blemishes, I'm going to keep on the other side. Or seeds like this one here. This is total rubbish. This is going into the garbage. Again, this one here, I may chop it up. Let's hang on to it because, like I said, I don't want to waste any. Step two would be to give them a good wash. So I'm going to go in with my hands and really wash them really well, because once they're frozen, you won't have the opportunity to wash them, because from frozen you can chop them up straight into the whatever soup or stew or whatever it is that you're making. That's when you would just go directly in there. So give them a good wash. The next step is to put them onto a towel and allow them to air dry. What I like doing is putting it onto my stove, and I turn the fan on. And I know the fan is all about fumes, but that sort of air movement helps them to dry faster. You know, you can point a fan directly at them. It's totally up to you. If you want to put them outside and there's a breeze, they will dry faster. But the point is, you want them dry, because if you don't dry them, what's going to happen is when they're wet and they touch where the water is between there, once they're frozen, you will have a terrible time trying to separate them. So the whole idea is to be able to take out 1, 2, 3 individually as you see fit later on when they're frozen. So this is where the sort of patience comes in. And again, I like to turn the fan on above the stove, allow for that sort of air movement. The air movement promotes the drying process, or the sort of just air drying. Or you can just go in with paper towels, waste paper towels, the fan on so it get loud. But you understand what I'm talking about. My peppers are nice and dry now. So what I'm gonna do just before I put it into the freezer bags is I'm gonna flip my towel over and just give them a little massage just to make sure. Halfway through drying, what I did, I went in and I tossed it up a bit just to make sure, because if you can put it on a single layer, much better. If not, you will have to move them around halfway through air drying. Sup, soldiers? Listen, if you enjoy this recipe, I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and click that bell notification thing. If you've made the recipe, take a picture and send it to me, email address down here. I mean, trying to tell people the email address, them butts will take the address and do all kind of thing with it. And tag me on Instagram at Caribbean Pot. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for being in my kitchen with me today. Irie. I'll quickly explain what I have here. I have a smaller freezer bag, and I label them. You'll see pimento peppers, pimento, and I'll get to that in a second. And I have a large one. The large one will go downstairs into the basement, into the freezer, the big stand-up walk-in sort of freezer. Well, we don't walk into it. If you walk into it, you bust your head. But anyhow, we're trying to bust your head and blood and things like that. But anyhow, this is going downstairs. This one will remain upstairs in the fridge freezer. Easy to access. And this one is the one I'm going to be using from. It's not in a freezer bag. It is important to get a nice thick bag though, or a container where you can put them all. And this is the one I'm going to be using from every day. I'm going to go there and then afterwards here. And the reason for labeling them pimento peppers is because there are times when my daughters would go downstairs to grab it for me, and I freeze a ton of different peppers, from Scotch bonnet to habanero to bujolokia to scorpion, you name it, and I have it. So I don't want them getting confused from wiri to bullet pepper to all kind of different types. The point is, it's easy for them to identify, because once this is frozen, sometimes even as a pro, you get confused. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy my little tutorial on how to freeze pimento peppers, and they could apply for any pepper you want whatsoever. Pop them out when you're ready to cook, toss these, and you can take the stems out, but I wouldn't recommend taking the stems out, because then when you wash them, there's the odd time that water may get in that will freeze, then you get frostbite, and you'll keep the stems. Pop the stems into the rubbish when you're ready to use it, and once they're frozen, you can pop it into whatever dish that you're making, or you can chop it up and it slices like frozen cheese. Easy, simple thing. Irie?